But if I were to talk about the travel marketing space and I could snap my fingers and make the industry instantly rise up, it would be to work with creators and to remove all stock photos from all marketing from the travel industry, because that is just like, I wish people could understand that that's killing your trust more than anything else.
You mean killing your trust, Google's trust, or at
Traveler
visitors'
trust. Traveler
Travel.
trust. Yeah, by using heavy stock photos or photos with no people and telling no story. Like it's just killing traveler trust.
And where would you get this amount of content? You have like 70,000 properties. That's quite a lot.
Well, the cool thing is we have a very great community of hosts, and we're actually working with them right now. So when you sign up to be a host on Lake.com, part of the sign up process is that you are agreeing to allow Lake.com to use your photos or videos that you share on our platform. We're able to use them in our marketing. So that's a great thing, because a lot of hosts have taken incredible care of their properties, and they have beautiful assets for us to use that we're working on the back end right now, organizing it all and figuring out how we're going to use them to tell the story and put our host first.
And hey guys, welcome to another episode of Reframe First. I am Alexei. I'm the host of the podcast. Let me welcome our today's guest, Sarah Stahl, VP of Marketing at Lake.com. So, hi Sarah, great having you here.
Hey, so good to be here with you today.
Yeah, awesome. Lake is an online vacation and rental platform for lakefront properties, boat rentals, tour bookings by local guides, and so on. Could you tell more about what Lake.com is and what you're doing at Lake, what your role is?
Yeah. So Lake.com was built out of the heart of the founders to want to allow families to get out and experience God's nature in rural towns. So Lake.com is an OTA. And we now have 70,000 properties within our marketplace. And the company is fairly new. It's about 3 years old, so still in that startup phase. And what they've recently grown pretty significantly. So from October of 2025, they had about 3,000 properties in their marketplace. And then now February, we've got about 70,000. So the biggest jump happened when the owner, who's also the developer, has a heavy hand in the development of the software system that runs Lake's algorithm. And he noticed that property managers don't want to connect to another source. They want to be able to connect within their PMS system so that they could easily connect, have no double booking issues. So when he realized that, he spent about 18 months making connection points between the property management systems, and then starting in October, November, December, started connecting to all the major PMSs. And so the properties now on the platform are pretty significant, and they're all located in lakefront, lake adjacent, or lake view homes that are in places that you've probably never even heard of before, but are well within a drive time.
Are they kind of, I drove through Lake and it feels like somebody loves it,
Yes. Yeah.
because it feels it's all around waterfront and stuff.
Yeah. That's so product development is always a thing we're working on. And so that's one of the things we're working on next, is being able to tell the user how far the property is from the water, right? So can I walk here? Can I sit on my porch and see it? Can I ride my bike there? And then if there's a drive, how far is the drive?
Yeah, that's awesome. We've checked the analytics and your posts on Like.com, and it looks like you're growing like crazy. So you might
You're
more
talking
than
about Google Analytics?
Yeah.
Google, yeah. And one of the cool pieces about that is there was a research report done at the end of the year, and Lake.com is actually showing up 47% of the time in LLMs for traveler searches. which is actually outranking some of the bigger OTAs that we compete with. So what's happening
Well,
from a schema markup and SEO standpoint to play nice with the LLMs, the owner is very much light years ahead of everybody, and it's really starting to show up in our analytics.
what are you doing to achieve that?
Can't tell
You
all
know,
our secrets.
yeah, from my experience, market is quite tough, and usually from what I'm hearing from travel companies, from industry, people are losing traffic, and you're gaining
Yes,
traffic, and
yes,
you've grown like 6 or 7 times over the last
yes.
year.
So the best advice I could give without giving away any secrets is look into schema markup and really making sure that that is done to the letter of the T. And that's not something that most people can do alone. There's companies that help with that. If anyone wants to know a company, I know a couple of great ones that I could put you in touch with. But schema markup is important, and then it has to pair well with the content that's written on the page.
And how do you produce the content? Because if you've reached like 70,000 properties in like 2 years, right? It's a lot.
Yes,
Is it manually selected or is it
it's not manual. So a lot of our pages are pre-built on Excel spreadsheets and then put into templates and built off a template. So whenever we change something, like we have a certain amount of lake pages, right? So like for every lake in the country, there's a page. For every national park, there's a page. For every state park, there's a page. So anytime we want to, those are all based off of similar templates. And anytime we want to make an update, we have to make it inside a spreadsheet. Yeah. So
awesome?
not we don't do a lot of manual updates on our heavier lift pages that are showing up higher in LLM search, but we do a lot of manual on like the homepage, right? Or like the about page, that kind of thing, because we're trying to make sure we're telling a really good story.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Are you also trying to sell some package deals, or is it about like property rental? Because you have some boat rentals and similar stuff.
Uh, so we haven't gotten into the marketplace for amenities, if that's what you're talking about, like add-on amenities. We haven't gotten into that
Yeah.
marketplace yet. We're trying to get our platform solid for the hosts because first and foremost, we care about the hosts and ensuring that they get the visibility they need to make substantial bookings. And then we care about the guest and how they're being able to easily source, find, book a stay that they feel like they can trust and they're comfortable with. So that's still a piece that we're trying to solidify first before we branch out into that. The only extra thing that we sell is to hosts. So we have a standard 10% fee for each booking that happens once the booking occurs, or you could pay a set price per year, and that covers everything. We remove the 10% fee.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Um, what like about like your demographics? Like what your usual demographics is, and like, and is it at all like pre-recording we were actually talking with you about thin margin, like high margin? What
Mm.
kind of
So our
is it mass booking, or is it something like niche, unique, and
very, very niche and unique. So our demographic tend to be the female head of household type of woman who's trying to create a memorable experience for her family. Folks who we try to make it clear that we care about the Lord first and foremost and honoring him and helping families get out in nature. And so people really like that we have a
Mhm.
stance in the marketplace that we honor God. And so we're starting to find that people are just more drawn to the owner story and being a part of that. And so what tends to happen in the booking process is these head of family household women, they're booking for like 4 or 5 days out, and they're booking about 6 months in advance. So the bookings are pretty substantial.
Yeah, if you're going to lake to relax, you're not probably going
You're
for
not
one
going for
night.
a couple of days. No, you're going for a while. And a lot of the houses associated on lake, they're very large, right? They sleep 10 to 20 people. The average lake house size that we have sleeps about 10 people on our property or on our platform. And so these are like larger family groups coming together for a family reunion or some kind of family celebration. That makes up a lot of our
So that's interesting.
Mhm.
Since Lake was born post-COVID, like from what I understand by the age of the Lake.com, like, but still, do you see any shifts in trends of visitors, like who comes and the reasons they come? Does it affect your niche? Because niche is quite unique because you're going there to like for family reunion for whatever, like for a couple of days or for a week's time. But still, do you like experience any shift in like visitor trends?
Not so much. So because the majority of the platform was being built post COVID, we are just starting to get that data in now.
Okay, okay.
So that data is just
And
starting to come in. So um yeah, it's going to be interesting to see kind of what happens there.
maybe like what trends at all do you see in the industry? Like where is the industry moving? Because like post-COVID,
Trends?
it has
Yeah. Since I'm the VP of marketing, I could talk heavily on marketing. So, marketing
yeah.
trends that I've seen shift, a big one is the use of creators in marketing. So, in fact, we're actually developing a similar creator program that I've developed with properties in the past because I've just seen so much great outcome with them because people don't know what to trust. I mean, we could talk about travel, but if we're looking at the consumer marketplace as a whole, people trust a creator 80% more of the time than they trust what a brand is saying about themselves because people don't know what to trust, right? That's just kind of the world that we're in right now. And so, when you look at how many touch points it requires to go from like cold finding out about a brand to actually making a transaction with the brand, whether that's a booking in travel or purchasing something in e-commerce, it takes about 20 touch points to build that trust for
Yes.
someone to say, I trust this brand enough to make a purchase decision with them. Well, once you throw a creator into that mix, that touch point reduces to about 7 because the creator has already taking care of the others. They've already built the relationship. We were talking a little offline about Gen X, and Gen X, they actually are using social media less because they're trying to experience their life naturally. They want to experience their life more naturally because they grew up with devices, and now they're kind of like, I want to play games with my friends. I want to take a walk outside. So when Gen X shows up on social media sites like Instagram and TikTok, they're actually checking in with the creators that they follow. So they're like, what is so and so up to today? And they just like watching their life unfold, their story unfold. So all those touch points that it takes a brand to earn over time, especially with Gen X, the creator's already doing that for you. And so when you partner with a creator, all of a sudden the folks, the Gen X who are checking in with that creator, they hear about Lake.com and their Lake.com experience and the vacation that they booked and the time that they had. All of a sudden, their followers go follow Lake.com and look at booking with them because now they trust them because someone that they've built a relationship with, even if it's one way. Sometimes, a lot of times with the creator, you got a one-way relationship. And so that's
Yes.
highly, highly overlooked in the industry because I think we're coming out of there's a big transition between generations who are currently sitting in roles, and there's a traditional way of doing things, and while there's some really solid traditional things that even I do that are necessary in marketing, we have to look at like, well, who are we partnering with? Who has the attention and are we partnering with them? And creators have the attention. And so we spent a lot of time at Lake.com getting to know our host and pairing them with creators for the purpose of ensuring that our creators earn the trust of our future guests.
Yeah, but the creators have to be influencers, like for the Gen X to trust them. Because like, and how do you deal with like a lot of fake content generated with AI? Like it was
A lot of what?
a lot of fake content generated with AI. Like
Oh,
recently, I was chatting with somebody from DMCs, and they're like telling me like people are coming with a picture on their phone, like we want to go here. They say like we do not have that location. there is a cave restaurant here. We want to visit the cave restaurant. And they're like, okay, there is a cave, but there is no restaurant, you know.
Interesting. I actually haven't run into that. I've not that particular. That's an interesting problem because basically, you're saying a creator created an experience that doesn't even exist. That's crazy. My experience with that is I actually had a creator reach out wanting to partner with us, and she was developing her AI avatar. So all of her content was like in locations that she'd gone to, but she recreated all of her content through her AI avatar's eyes. And I said no. I was like, "No, no." I understand that that's happening. I understand that. I mean, there's like big AI creators that people follow, right? They tend to be female, and they tend to look perfect. And so that's the issue that I have with marketing is if we go back to the core issue that customers don't trust, they don't trust the brands, they don't trust what they're seeing. I'm not going to put out anything that would cause them to make something them trust it less. But that's an interesting. I'm going to keep my eye on that one. Creating an experience that doesn't exist. Wow.
It's quite easy nowadays with AI, with Gen AI tools.
Mhm.
In the end, you create like
Mhm. That's
bright
an
picture,
interesting
which
one.
is inspirational. So like you inspire the traveler comes over. So he trusts the content. And do you feel like how are creators feeling about AI nowadays? Because it's kind of a threat to their existence, or is it not? What's your
I haven't heard it come up one time. I'm going to start asking that question because now I'm curious. But the reason why creators keep getting hired is because they're real. They get hired because they've built trust, and brands want to borrow the trust that they have built. And they didn't build that trust using anything fake. They built that trust by showing what their day to day looks like, good, bad, ugly, indifferent. They just show up and they share what their day is like. And so that's actually why I think that creators are the future of how marketing is done, especially in travel, because people I actually think we're in an AI bubble. Like we actually keep going through these AI bubbles. This is I think like the seventh one or something since the 60s. And so I think that if we go back to trust, and I like to look at the psychology of how culture functions. And because I know that overall arching culture doesn't trust, they're going to look for more real. And so I haven't seen an issue with creators being concerned with AI content coming for them.
Okay, I see. That's interesting topic
Mhm.
to touch.
Mhm.
With regards, like from what I'm seeing, hearing recently, like everyone is into industry is talking about depersonalization in travel, and you need to like get personal with the user, provide unique experiences. That's on the end of like more expensive traffic segment, right? If it comes down to like travel being commodity and like mass market, so it's about thin margin. Where is Lake.com, and are you working on any
Yes.
kind of personalization for the user?
Yes, totally. First of all, I'll say this. I think it's the idea of like ultra personalization. I don't know if I agree with that because it's like you can only get so personal with someone because they're only going to share so much data with you. And you can only be as personal as the data that they share, right? So some people are very private. You only end up with a name, phone number, email, their IP address, that kind of thing. And so really how much personalization can go on if that makes up the bulk of the data that you're getting. So one of the things that that we just tried at Lake that we're currently testing is we didn't know, right, the difference between email, name, IP address, and like who is this traveler and what do they want? So we created a split test pop-up to test two different pop-ups. And the idea was that you self-identify to us. I don't know if you've seen MailChimp's new pop-up features, but they actually have kind of like you can scroll through to do a couple different actions before you provide your name and email. And so the first thing that we did is say, hey, let's plan your next trip. Where do you want to go? And we gave them 5 options. Do you want to go to the southeast to the Gulf in the Gulf? Do you want to go to the Midwest? Do you want to go to the Pacific West Coast? Do you want to go to Canada? Do you want to go to Europe? Where do you want to go? So they first I want to go to Europe. Then another page pops up and says, great, what are you traveling for? And we've asked them another 5 questions to put them in buckets. So are you traveling for family? Are you traveling for pet first? Are you traveling for just a random adventure? So by the time we get their information, they're pre-tagged and pre-bucketed based off of all of those segments, right? So now when somebody fills that out and they get a follow-up email from us, it's specifically to, okay, thank you, Andrea, for letting us know that you want to go to the Pacific Northwest and you want pet-friendly stays. So now we're only serving her up Pacific Northwest pet-friendly stays. And
Uh-huh.
so I think we overcomplicate the personalization. It's really simple. Needing to know the best place to start is if you don't know where travelers want to go or what they're traveling for, just start there. And then you use your marketing to kind of get to know them better over time.
Sometimes I don't know where they want to go. That's another issue. But no,
Well, we have an option. We have an option for you. It says surprise me. And
uh,
so that's where you
that's
would
a
go.
great one.
And
Sometimes,
so
they come over to the form like where they want to go and
where
when,
they
and they
want to
like,
go.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. That's why we added the surprise me because we know there's people like you out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. What else do you see in terms of like market trends or traveler behavior? Where's moving? Even specifically, what do you think the market is not seeing?
I think that there's a trend for rural destinations, finding places that are like the popular places, right? Places that are like the Lake Como or like the Big Bear Lake or like the Lake Tahoe, but without the crowds and without the hefty price tag. Because we kind of talked about this a little bit before we started recording about how, the world altogether we're experiencing, a port a bit of economic meltdown. So we're all struggling financially in different areas. We don't have the same money that we had before to travel, but we still want to travel. We still want to escape our lives. We still need to reset from our day to day. We need a break from burnout at work. And so, how do we do that? Well, we find these rural places that are, in my opinion, they're even more beautiful because there's less people, there's less buildings, there's more nature. And so folks are looking for that. Like, how can I go to what was once considered second or third tier destination is now looking really appealing because they're able to still experience something delightful that they weren't anticipating to experience without the price tag.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I heard from like the MC that I was chatting with. That
Hmm.
like that's
Hmm.
their job to evolve that because it's about sustainability of local environment, local communities and stuff. But
Yeah.
it's also providing for traveler less crowded and cheaper option to experience something similar to what they want.
And it's a good time for it, I think, because that's what the travelers also want. So there's like this really neat pairing happening. And I think what a lot of people in the industry overlook is where travelers are discovering places to stay. And it's a lot of times Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest. So that is
Yeah,
the first place that they're finding places to stay before they ever go to your website.
yeah,
So, and they're in a lot of times they're finding it through a creator. A creator is sharing something really neat, like, hey, this is how I got from Milan to Lake Como for less than $250, right? And then their reel goes viral and everybody wants to do that because it satisfies the let's do something outside of the box, but let's also do it on a budget.
yeah, agree. And are you building something specifically to address it? That's like idea that shift into like alternative mode duplicate destinations.
Am I building something? What? I missed that, sir.
Like providing this feature of going to like similar destination to Lake Como.
Yes, yes. So, I was actually at a conference. It was the Host Away conference in Miami in 2024. And there was an Airbnb rep on the stage, and they were asked, what travel trends do you see coming? And she replied, destination dupes. And so I like jumped on that. I was like, okay, we're gonna focus on that. And do you know I still haven't seen it come out as a trend yet. So I feel like it's coming. We still haven't like hit the trend factor, but she definitely was ahead of her time. So she mentioned this in 2024. So everything that I do in marketing is around telling stories about around destination dupes, right? So 3 lakes that are just as clean as Lake Tahoe that you never heard of before, right? Like that's a hook in a storyline. So oh, there's 3 lakes that are just as clean and less crowded as Lake Tahoe. Lake Tahoe. I want to know what those 3 lakes are. So that's a form of destination dupe, or like to your point about the experience that was generated by AI. Like you can cave and eat in a cave. There are places in California you can eat in a cave, right? And so to create a destination dupe, I've done something then locally where we have actually like the top cave, one of the top cave destinations in the country. We have more caves, some reason, in our county than almost anybody in the country. I know you can't eat in one, but I took the story and ran with it. And I was like, you can go to a cave and then go have a great dining experience all on the same day. And so you tell that story. And we're in, the middle of nowhere, Alabama. And so being able to like turn your rural destination into just as an appealing place as a popular destination is the deep story that you want to figure out how to tell.
Okay, that's really like awesome trends. With regards to what you mentioned, like the first inspirational point, like well, like it's not even inspirational. It's about information where a customer goes. He goes to Instagram, to TikTok, and Pinterest and similar platforms.
Yeah.
So that sounds like a kind of shift of generational behavior because like the newer generation, they expect you to follow them on, they expect the platform to follow them on all the social media platforms rather than like coming to your website to get inspired. And so like, besides, are you doing anything in that direction to be present everywhere? And that's also an option to diversify from Google.
Yeah, yes. So that is the goal, but I never like to tell people like go out and on day one try to be present everywhere, right? Because the content creation process really needs to be scrutinized and built out of a strategy, right? And so if you're going to scrutinize and build out of a strategy, you're not going to be able to pop up on all platforms at once. And so what I like to do is I like to get really good on one platform. And once I'm like, okay, I feel good, like we've got the cadence down, we have a healthy growth, let's keep this strategy going here, and then let's move over to this platform now. So I really like to tackle one platform at a time. And depending on how big your team is or how much support you have, you could kind of get through those platforms a little bit quicker. But you know, focusing on one and getting really good because you have to understand the nuances of that platform, right? So the TikTok video that you post, directly to TikTok and then turn around and post that same video to Instagram does a couple of negative things for your brand. One, you will not get the same performance because the platforms have different cultures. So you have to like format your content for the culture of the platform, but you have to know what the culture of the platform is first. And so that's why I like to like sit on a platform for a while and really get to know it. And then secondly, to your point, let's say someone does go to your website and they scroll all the way to the bottom and they click, 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 click on each of your social profiles. If they see that all your content is the same as their, like, because you've now posted to every platform every time you post. A lot of people will do that too. It actually feels very fake to them. And it feels fake and lazy because they just don't trust the content if it's like, well, just mass shared across all platforms. So my suggestion would be if you're looking to start somewhere, start with Instagram and then move your way to Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok, Facebook, that kind of thing.
YouTube.
YouTube, yeah.
And start with video or start with images?
It depends on the platform. So if I would say Instagram, carousels actually are doing really, really well right now, this point in time. And then more like quick reels, like reels that are between 4 and 10 seconds are doing really good with a very specific message. And then like Facebook and LinkedIn, they actually do better with just an image and text. One image and text, especially LinkedIn's new algorithm update, it's reading everything. So it actually can't read a video. So your videos don't perform as well there. And then Pinterest is, same thing, text with high resolution photos that tell a very strong story.
Yeah, yeah, interesting. And what is that stopped working for you in like last year, 2 years of time? Like probably in terms of marketing, which channels don't work and like what broke? X.
X, are we calling it X, Twitter, what um I don't know what to think about X, to be completely honest with you. I've actually been on X since 2007. Oh my gosh, so that's almost 20 years. And it's always been a um fire hydrant of information because they don't have an algorithm, which could be, good or bad depending on how you're looking at it. But to me, it's just like too much noise and it's really hard to break through. So I'm actually exploring, I'm sorry, the name just jumped my mind. It's where you go to like talk with people. That sounds bad. Um, and it's showing up high on all
Is it
AI
called
searches. No, it's showing up high on all the AI searches.
Google Gemini?
No, 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 no. It's a platform. It's a community platform. It's like a forum-based platform. I can't.
Twitch?
No, I can't think of the name right now. But I just talked
No,
to
not Twitch. Reddit.
Reddit. Yes. So I'm actually experimenting with Reddit. And I talked to their sales rep and I'm like, help me understand how the platform works. And the platform is very unforgiving. If you show up there and you act like a brand, you'll actually get booted out by the users before you even posted anything. So, I asked her, I was like, well, because we're looking at advertising on Reddit and we're like, well, what does a successful ad look like? And then how do we use the ad to open into a conversation with folks? And so the Reddit team is kind of like helping us navigate understanding how the platform and how the community works. Because even though we want to advertise there, we don't want it to feel or sound like an ad because we don't want to get booted out of the platform. So
Okay.
that's probably a new change. Is like I don't think there's very many platforms in the past where we had to really care too much about how the community functions before posting content. And Reddit, you have to care, you have to understand how the community functions before you post any content.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, it's like 2 years ago, Reddit became like travelers like community platform number one. So whatever you search in travel, Reddit is the first
Yeah,
responsible
and
for.
so I'm like nervous and interested to know like, hey, can us as a travel brand show up here in an authentic way without getting torn apart?
That was interesting shifts since Google started training their Gemini models on Reddit's content.
Mhm.
Is number one everywhere in Google's
It's
responses.
interesting. And
Yeah,
you know what? It's natural conversation between humans.
yeah, it is. It's great source of content, of human content.
Mhm.
If you could change one thing like in like.com with snap of your finger, like some whatever processes, approaches, automate something, what would it be? What do you
In
think?
marketing, in travel marketing,
I don't know. In like.com.
at
In whatever.
lake.com. I don't know.
You're
We're still
still
building.
right.
We're still building at lake.com. So that's a tough one. We're in like a really fun like build out process, and we haven't really seen anything break yet because we're still building. But if I were to talk about the travel marketing space, and I could snap my fingers and make the industry instantly rise up, it would be to work with creators and to remove all stock photos from all marketing from the travel industry because that is just like I wish people could understand that that's killing your trust more than anything else.
You mean killing your trust, Google's trust, or at
Traveler
visitors' trust?
trust, traveler
Travel.
trust. Yeah, by using heavy stock photos or photos with no people and telling no story. Like it's just killing traveler trust.
And where would you get this amount of content? You have like 70,000 properties. That's quite a lot.
Well, the cool thing is we have a very great community of hosts and we're
Hmm.
actually working with them right now. So when you sign up for to be a host on lake.com, part of the sign up process is that you are agreeing to allow lake.com to use your photos or videos that you share on our platform. We're able to use them in our marketing. So that's a great thing because a lot of hosts have, taken incredible care of their properties and they have
Yeah.
beautiful assets for us to use that we're working on the back end right now, organizing it all and figuring out how we're going to use them to tell the story and put our host first.
But you mentioned that like you're acquiring the host via like some property management system, PMS, and but you're already communicating directly with them, or how does it
Yes.
prospect?
Yeah, we have relationships with some of the top PMSs in the industry.
The PMS, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, the PMSs. Yeah. And then from there, right? So like that's how the host discovery process is happening for us from a property standpoint. And then once the host joins, we actually have our own marketing that goes out to host. So we communicate to hosts like how to get the most out of the platform, and then we send product updates to the host. So then we start to generate a relationship directly with them, and in that process, like we just send out an email last week that said, "Hey, we're developing this creator pilot program. Do you want to be a part of it?" And we had 8 hosts sign up, right? So we work on that direct relationship with them to learn and discover, like, hey, do you have other content that we can use? And we're starting to collect that now.
Yeah, content is a key. Like, but still, like 70,000 properties. Can you automate all that process, or did you already automate all the process? Because
No, no. So if I can,
70.
okay, so if I can click my fingers, snap my fingers for Lake, it would be to organize all the content for me for
That's
the
probably
properties.
quite a lot of manual work.
It is. It sure is. Yeah.
How big of the content team, if it's not a secret, that's working on on
2 people.
on two people. That's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where we're starting. Of course, we're hoping to grow the team bigger, but we've got to start getting some proof of concepts out there. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And maybe like the question is like, what you're building right now at Lake? Like, what's your bets of like?
This is going to be boring. This isn't futuristic stuff.
Oh, still, you believe in something, in some market
Yes.
trends. You're trying to like evolve the product.
Yes. So I'm currently working to build out a strong marketing dashboard because I
Okay.
have specific KPIs related to my role that I need to be able to prove took place, right? And a lot of times in marketing, we use pretty generic outcomes to prove what worked. And I don't like using generic outcomes. I like having a very clear line of sight on what happened from discoverability to booking and what channels are responsible for that. So I'm working right now to build that out. And we're trying to get everything into our CRM system so that we can have a line of sight between that and Looker Studio so that we have a very clear understanding of what is actually working with our marketing and what is not.
Yeah, sounds very like familiar. Looker Studio.
Yeah. See, I told you it's boring. It's not but these are the boring parts of marketing that often get overlooked that make it really difficult to say what's worked later down the road.
Yeah, but it brings you clarity and transparency into your information, and
Hmm.
you can make decisions and act based on data, not based on well. Yes.
Absolutely.
Awesome, awesome. And what is the building? So you mentioned the founder is quite technical guy. No,
Yes.
co-founder is technical guy. So
Very.
for what's the future of like?
That's a good question. Maybe you should have the founder on. I think he'd be able to talk more directly to that, specifically, because I haven't figured all of that out. But
Yeah,
from what I've learned working with them, they care about building in public. He cares very much about building in public. So you could follow him on like LinkedIn. He talks a lot about his building in public process and then solving for guest and host issues. So as guest and host issues come up, he's constantly building for that as well.
that's it. I should follow him for sure.
Yeah. Happy to introduce you to.
That was great conversation. I really appreciate you coming here and being open. Is there anything you would like to add on top of what we discussed?
Not necessarily. I think it would be great if folks wanted to connect with me on LinkedIn because I talk about this quite a bit and I love hearing other people's perspectives. I love seeing what other people are working on in the industry as well and just learning and growing together.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so Sarah, like best of luck in what you're doing and like in like bringing order into marketing nowadays
Yeah.
with dashboard and stuff. And in your new role and like thanks for coming over and
Thank you. It was great to be here
yeah.
with you.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Bye. Okay, I